Man, he could sing. Roy was a maniac.
Oh, we're getting filmed as well.
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
shoot, no.
No?
No, I thought it's only, like, voices.
Voices.
Yeah, she showed up in
A
her
little bit
pajamas, so, you know.
That's rock
How
star.
did you know?
Rock star life.
Fuzzy slippers, the whole bit.
Yeah. I love it.
No, you can't see the slippers.
Yeah,
No,
it's
we can
good.
kick them up. I'll have to angle it down. Where's the control? Wow, man. How do I start this, guys? When's the last time we saw each other?
Oh, wow. Well, we were 3 years in Portland, thereabouts. We played a few shows on tour in the area, but nobody came to them, so we saw like Graham and Aaron from Dirt Moon, and
Yeah.
that was about it. Those are the only people who came to see us. And then one year we did the Side Pony
Okay, yeah,
down,
that's
and
right.
so
Yeah.
Sanchez, not John, what? Yeah,
Raphael.
Raphael, yeah, he was there and ran sound for us.
Hey.
So that was about it for the old Guitar Center crew that we've run into, and a bunch of guys from like Anthony Fama and all these people from bands that we know. But
from the music scene.
yeah, exactly. But so probably at least 3 years we did those Boondock shows. We did that show.
That was 2014.
For the what do you call it? Day of the Dead thing with April Ann.
Oh, that's right.
We
yeah,
did that
yeah,
thing, Dirt Moon, April Ann.
Mm-hmm.
We shot a video that night for Helpless.
Yeah.
You should Google that because
Helpless.
that was that night that we filmed it. She had the face paint and everything.
Yeah. That's
I
right.
looked terrible.
Yeah, it was so hot. His paint was like...
I really looked like I was a zombie, and it wasn't nice. Kids screamed, ran away from me. She looked good. She looked good with the whole what do you call it? Candy.
Candy skulls?
Yeah, candy skull.
Yeah, sugar skulls.
Sugar skull. That's it. Yeah.
Candy
I've been
skull.
away from the area for a while.
You
so-
have. You guys have been overseas, across the pond, as they would say.
Yeah.
So let's work our way back to the intro then. I like this.
Okay.
Guys, welcome to this one time.
Thank you.
I love just starting it up and just getting right into it. Today I'm joined by the Upper Strata, and they consist of Johnny Two Snakes. You still go by
Johnny Two Snakes, yeah. Just people who know me by that. That didn't actually survive in Portland when we moved there.
Oh.
I had it on my name tag at work, and my boss was like, "No, take that off. I'm not down with the Two Snakes. That's not happening." And then nobody knew the story. Nobody knew anything about it. So
No.
I was just Johnny.
Yeah,
Everybody
just
just knew
Johnny.
me as Johnny. But
Johnny Sanchez
Sanchez, yes,
and his beautiful
Also,
wife,
yes, Regula,
Regula.
Yes.
Bernadette.
Swedish? Bernadette?
Yeah.
No, Regula. Bernadette is my middle name.
Middle name. is
Oh, middle
Bernadette.
name.
Swiss.
Swiss. That's
Yes.
I can't. I was like, it's either
Everybody
Swiss
does
or
that.
Swedish.
Everybody does
I
that.
don't know. Yeah.
Kia versus chocolate. You know, that's how you think of it. Fondue versus, I don't even know, meatballs. So,
The opposite swings.
yeah.
Awesome. So you guys are the Upper Strata. How long have you guys been playing together?
Jeez. We started off in Switzerland with doing some home recording.
Yeah.
And that would be probably like, yikes,
8 years ago?
8 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And then when we got
No, longer.
more than that,
Longer.
and then we got to Denver, and we bought. We started thinking about maybe playing some shows, and then we ended up here, and got an amp for her first time
Yeah.
from you, at Guitar Center.
Really?
Yeah. And then
It lasted a long time.
It is.
old Gallion
Okay.
Kruger, and then we did some like coffee house shows. But
Yeah.
it was primarily acoustic, and we were here for like 5 years. We put out maybe 4 albums in 5 years
Yeah.
in the valley.
You guys were busy.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
played a lot.
Yeah, we had 1 year where we actually did about 92 shows.
Oh my gosh.
And that was like sometimes 2 and 3 shows in a day.
Yeah,
you know,
and
like-
unless you're playing covers, you don't get that type of like I mean, unless you're just picking up whatever gig, but
right.
that's I would say that's a lot of shows.
Well, that was what always amazed us, was that we were able to do places like the Duck and Decanter and stuff that usually it is just covers, and we just barely did covers. We maybe did like 4 covers a set. We would just squeeze the covers out and play all of our stuff, but people hung with it and they dug it. Nice. They bought our CDs and everything else. So I always thought that was a privilege to be able to either perfect the songwriting enough to where people are fooled into thinking it's a cover, or just enjoying it because it's a well-written song. And I had a friend of mine who was just ragging on my guitar playing, and I'm like, dude, I'm really not a guitarist. I know that. I'm a songwriter. That's my skill is the songwriting. And she's a bass player through and through. She's an amazing bass player. Everybody sees that. Everybody knows that. Because she's just like one with the instrument, but I'm not that person. I'm a songwriter, and I like the craft of it. And oftentimes, especially with the newer stuff, it's like, let her parts shine, pull back, support the song, support what she's doing, and don't be this egotistical person that's got to trace all over the song, right? I'm not that kind of guitarist, especially after years at Guitar Center where it's like, man, those guys.
Yeah, they just come in, they just, exactly.
Please stop.
Yeah.
I after a while, I didn't want to sound like a guitar at all. And you'll hear it tonight. Tonight, it'll sound like a cello. It'll sound like strings. And it's confusing to people because people will be like, oh, I really love that keyboard part. And I'm like, it's like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's guitar part. But, because that's intentional. It's like I'm a frustrated keyboardist probably. I'm a cello player. But we like to pull in so many different influences that sure, we when we go to Prague or Berlin or someplace, we always check out classical music. We make a point of it. She grew up playing Chopin and things, and we just have a real appreciation for that, particularly the Baroque. And I would say that's a big influence on the new album, is that sort of chamber music vibe. Yeah,
I definitely feel that for sure. And you guys, it makes sense that you guys seek out the classical, shows or events, because you guys are well read and well educated as well. I mean, you the whole time I knew you were still going to school, going through college, or not college but university courses and all of that. What is that how you guys met?
Oh yeah, that's a funny story actually. You feel like telling it? Because I talk like a book, like you say.
No, you go on.
Oh, okay. So it was a long time ago, in a galaxy far away. She was doing an internship in Colorado Springs for a ski company that brought over Europeans and took them around. It was like an international ski company.
Okay.
I was supposed to be in New Mexico doing archaeology, but my truck broke down. So I wandered into this quasi-Mexican cantina called Jose Muldoon's, which was like concept place. There used to be like dozens of Jose Muldoon's, and they've all gone away. I think there's only one now.
Is that kind of like a Macayo's then?
It's like that, or like any of these ones.
But no chimichangas.
Yes, it's like that. Yeah, it's like a chain.
No wonder they closed down.
Yeah, they closed down. Actually did. They had chimichanga. Anyhow, it wasn't half bad. No, so I just wandered in because my truck was in the shop, and it was Labor Day weekend. I couldn't get the part. Yeah. Because everything was shut down, and they're all going for the 4-day weekend or whatever and getting out of town. And last chair in a place. I'm just about to leave. Got like tiny bit of beer left. She sits down next to me, and I immediately thought, oh, she's some gal that's gone off and done a study abroad, is copying a European look or whatever. And then she said hello, and I was like, oh no, she really is European. She's not faking it. She's really. And I just thought she was so funny. And we talked about music. We talked about all sorts of stuff. And I had another beer, and I got up and did a song because it was karaoke night, and on and on. Nice. And it just went on. And finally I'm like, oh, it's too bad I don't live here anymore. I'm living in New Mexico, because I think I'd hang out with her. And then her sister's like, you need to go down to Santa Fe because it's beautiful there. You need to go see that. So I was like, yeah, come on down. I'll show you around. And it just went like that. It was a long distance thing for about a year while she did the internship.
Yeah, I think I got hooked on green chili. And then I fell in love.
That New Mexico hatch, right?
Yeah, the land of enchantment. I was like, come on, do your magic, land
you
of
owe
enchantment.
it all to the green chili, because she stuck around for the chili.
That's it. And the land of enchantment, because it's a romantic, beautiful place. And we still are mesmerized by the Southwest every time we're here. It's just, wow, it's just this morning at Joshua Tree. We were camping in Joshua Tree, got up at sunset and watched
those
the
are
sun.
beautiful photos. I saw you share those.
Yeah, it's just nuts there. It's just nuts. So yeah, I mean, land of enchantment, and I just found in her somebody that loved to travel and loved to experience new things, and particularly loved to eat, love food, because that's a big thing for me as well.
Yeah.
And we love to cook together and things like that. So there's just a lot of points where we meet. And
yeah,
then,
you guys are intersecting.
Yeah, and then as well, once we started doing the music together, which was just originally home recording, the irony is that we tried to do bands, and we did a lot of shows.
Yeah.
And then we found, wow, why are we going to studios? Why don't we just go back to the home recording thing we used to do? Mm-hmm. So the last few albums have just been home recorded. And then we went to a next step and said, well, why are we recording this at home? Why don't we record it somewhere else? So the new album was in part recorded in a boathouse in Norway.
That is crazy.
On a fjord. And
well, mainly because we live right above a tram station.
Yeah.
And the tram goes by every 5 minutes, and you can't even record one track because you would have the bim bim of the tram
the trolley
in the track.
going by, basically, yeah. And it was a noisy apartment. We recorded all the guitar tracks and stuff originally in Portland, and then when we moved, we went back and realized, this could be better. And so I re-recorded everything in Basel, and then it was like, well, where are we going to record the vocals? Because we sure as hell can't do this here. And we were assembling all this IKEA furniture, and there are all these Norwegian town names and stuff, and she's like, why don't we go to Norway, where all our furniture's from? And I said, yeah, they might have reindeer there.
Yeah.
We could sit on a fjord. And it all started to sound really good, and she found this killer boathouse, and so we just moved in with we packed all our home recording stuff that we've used for a bunch of albums now, and they weren't cool with that in France. They were a little weirded out. But when because our airport is technically in France and Germany all at the same time because we're right on the border.
Gotcha.
And so we go to France to fly out from Basel, and they're like, it's an awful lot of wires, a lot of stuff. But once we got there, it all worked out. We got some really great recordings, I think, and there's the weird atmosphere of being on a fjord.
Yeah.
So we did the album Fog, and there we are with this fog in the fjord, and it was just this playful, weird thing that looked like some kind of creature. So we ended up writing a song to that. So the song Fickle Fjord is about there's a line in there about watching the fog on a fickle fjord.
Yeah. Like
some kind of creature, something mythical and pure.
Yeah.
Driven by whimsy, like a child at play, and so on and so forth. And it was to the fjord and to the phenomena of fog. And it was just like a perfect setting to put the final nail in the album, I think.
Yeah. Well, I like what you had mentioned about, dedicating an album per se to the fog, like naming it that. There's what the first song and the last song, kind of bring that all full circle. But yeah, it's like there could be something hidden in there. It's beautiful if the light hits it just right, where the fog may be nestled in the fjord. Like there's a beauty to that, but then there's also that little underlying like creepiness, like what's in there,
right?
What
exactly.
could be in there. And I think you did a really good job of making your guitar not sound like a guitar, and the found sounds. I want to get to talk to that too. Talk about that. The found sounds that when you had mentioned kind of pulling back and letting her, kind of really shine, and you made simple drum beats to kind of like as placeholders, but then they fit so well because you're not taking away from the main goal, which was the ambiance,
for sure.
the found sounds.
Yeah.
But the only way I can really describe it. So that's a big move in your behalf, because I thought you guys were bluesy. The whole time I knew you guys were playing bluesy.
We were.
And then you send me this, and I'm like, oh, let me read this zine, which is beautifully done, this zine, which is like at least, 28 pages or so?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, thereabouts, yeah.
This is a painting I did, and I combined it in Photoshop to get the final image. But she's a graphic artist by trade, and so actually what she does for a living is put out magazines.
Oh,
and
okay.
so
that's why it's so well done.
Yeah. So, we always wanted to do a full CD booklet or something like that with every album, but we just never had the budget, or we never had the opportunity to, because honestly, to do a vinyl with a huge booklet like that would just be so astronomically expensive for us. And we're all self-produced. We don't have a record label, any of that. So you have to cut corners sometimes. Sometimes you get some lyrics, things like that in there, but you don't always get everything that you want. And I think every album we did, every CD has beautiful artwork from Regula and really great graphic elements. All the CDs, they all fold out. They all have incredible things in there. But this was just kind of a labor of love as well to try to summarize everything. So going back to the bluesy stuff at the end, there's the whole discography of everything we've done and wrapping it up. And we started that with the live acoustic album we did is Johnny and Reg, which was recorded in a log cabin in Williams.
Nice.
We summed everything up on that album, like, because there's a song from all of our albums on that album done acoustic.
Okay.
So it's sort of a greatest hits for a band that didn't really have any hits, but for the 4 people who like us, it's kind of a greatest hits. But the nice thing with that was that Regula began to sing as we were progressing along, playing all these shows. She got bored on the bass and just got to where she was so comfortable with it. She just started to harmonize with me, and I'm like, that's really awesome. And people really responded and were like, you should sing more, or she should sing more, let her sing more. It's like, it's not me. Whenever she wants to sing, she can sing.
Yeah.
And so some of the songs in particular
I'm shy.
off of Neon Glitz are so much better with her singing that we re-recorded them for the acoustic album so we could get that in there. It just adds so much.
Like I say, you re-record them. Like, that's what you guys do when you play live. Is you're not playing it exactly. It's not like a scripted thing where you're coming out. It's like, well, this is how we wrote it. This is how we have to play it. You guys just full expression is all I can like get to. The true artistry that you guys have an obvious passion for. That's why each album you has had like the decorative art with folding out covers.
Right.
Like that is evident right out the gate.
Awesome.
The artistry is all there. So when you perform it, it's a unique show every time.
Yeah, for sure. And particularly with the acoustic thing, where like we had experience, we were playing in a seaside town in southern Oregon just a few days ago, and we looked up and the dance floor was packed to an acoustic duo. I mean, what are the odds of that? And then we were like, okay, let's clear the dance floor and play a slow song. So they started couple dance. We're like, okay, this is just gonna be what's going on.
They're just vibing.
So then she's like trying to play the bass extra funky to see if she can make the move like little marionettes or something. And we're just having a good time with it. But so then we started to drag these blues songs out for ages, like doing a dance remix version of Southern Road Lament or some song that we do, and it's just kind of funny to like what you're talking about with just bringing this sort of improvisational artistry to it. So particularly I think with the acoustic, but even with the electronic, we play the sequencers and things, but we always leave passages where we can interpret it. We can do it a little bit differently. Sometimes that works, sometimes we go off the rails and we have to try to salvage the song by the end of it.
Yeah. You're doing it live, and it's not always gonna land, but you have to appreciate that, It's like a comic trying out a new joke. It's gonna be rough, but you just come along for the ride.
Yeah, and then you make a joke about the fact that, I thought that was gonna go over better than it did, or something like this. Yeah.
Well, at that point you can go into jazz, because there's a saying goes like, when you play a wrong note once, you messed up. When you play the wrong note twice, it's jazz.
Yeah. So
then you can go into jazz.
Right. Then it's intentional. It's Thelonious Monk at that point. Bing, yeah.
So you guys are multi-instrumentalists, right? I remember you were getting into accordion.
Yeah.
The last when you guys were still living here and we were working together. And then you have done keyboard and synth, and then you got comfortable enough to sing a bit, right?
Yeah, and I just start everything a little bit, but nothing really perfect. But I have fun with it. So.
Yeah, and that's the key. You have to have fun with it, which is the whole improvisation live. You're having fun. You're trying to make these people, like you just said, you went from like, hey, let's kind of mess with these folks a bit, seeing if they're gonna come with us. And people forget that music is just supposed to be fun. At the end of the day, it's supposed to bring you some sort of, joy. And people take it too serious sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it is an interaction and it's an interpretation, and you bring your own personal baggage to any song. I think people will come up and tell me what they think a song is about, and it's totally wrong from my perspective, but I'm glad they bothered to try to interpret it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As an abstract painter, I'm all about that,
Yes.
you know, because an abstract painter doesn't tell you what it is. It's not a bowl of fruit, it's whatever you bring to it. Oh, I hate red, so it's a red painting, you hate it, right? I love red. It's a red painting. I love it. You know, It's just like that. But the same. I think our music has been described as open-ended and kind of meditations and abstract. Somebody said in one of the reviews recently, just this sonic landscape of fuzz tones and spaciness or something like this. And I don't know that was necessarily meant to be that complimentary, but to me it really was, because it's like, yeah, awesome, that sounds like an abstract painting to me. You're just going in there and it's these fields of sound that don't, they mean something different to everyone. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And to some people need that direction, and those are the people that can be scared by this, in a sense, where it's like, yo, what are you trying to say? How am I supposed to be feeling to this? Like, I don't know. Like, there's something entertaining about watching certain people like squirm, like not knowing, how does this make me feel? How do I feel about this?
Right.
What are the lyrics? What did you mean? Like, I need to know these things. It's like, you really don't. Just figure it out for yourself.
Well, and we started Johnny and Reg, which is our alter ego, because we were confusing the hell out of people. That they would be coming in wanting Delta blues, like you were saying.
Yep.
We even did the album Fantastic Pigeonholes because we'd been pigeonholed as a blues band, Americana band. We were playing the Rhythm Room. We were playing a lot of like bluesy festival type things, and which was fine. I'll always love the blues, but it's not the only thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And particularly like. When she was wanting to mess around more with sequencers and go more electronic, and then the accordion thing, which was very old world sounding, we wrote this whole concept album, which was sort of celebrating the time between the Second World War and the First World War, and the Cabaret Voltaire, and the whole, all these artists hiding out in Europe, in Switzerland, to get away from the various wars and things.
Yeah.
And so. I mean, that's a whole weird tangential path to go down, and musically and conceptually, you can't do that as a blues player necessarily. You bring that in, you bring that sensibility. I don't think I'll ever stop being influenced by gospel music, traditional soul, and blues, because that's sort of what informs what I do. But if you throw it over electronic music, it's something new. I was so inspired early on by Tom Waits, because he's taken a lot of different influences with a blues aesthetic and combining it, and somehow it ends up being something new. He's taken this blues sort of vibe and going somewhere totally new with it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll ever stop doing that, but Johnny and Reg was a way to say, yeah, okay, when you come out to this, expect the blues and the acoustic and the Americana. When you come out to Upper Strata, it's going to be something else. So that's why we started doing
something
that.
else, depending on the year. It's going to be electro.
Depending on how my breakfast is sitting.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I feel like sounding like a guitarist today or not,
It's just going to be open-ended.
Open-ended, abstract stuff. And the funny thing with that is that she would just bring in these. She would go to work, and if she didn't have anything to do, she'd be waiting for the next graphic job to come in her queue. And she'd start in on a graphic job, do it, bang it out, get it done. Then she'd be sitting in her cubicle waiting for the next thing. So she'd just sit there and write beats.
On the little sequencer?
On her sequencer. And then she'd come home and I did this Portishead beat today. Listen to this. Yeah. And I would be immediately inspired by it. We'd sit down and write something to it. Or we had a few shows where we called them electro lounge, chill out lounge, stuff like that, where they would want us to play all night. And we'd throw the sequencer on there and improv over the top of it. And so sometimes out of those sort of long extended jams, we would, distill a song. So Neon Glitz, Willow, Fog, the song Fog itself, the song Solace off the new album, all those things came from these long extendo electro lounge shows. And people loved it because you're just chilling, you're listening, it's in the background, it's just kind of like this like atmosphere is set, and you just hang out and have a nice night in some place in Hillsboro, Oregon. But it's not in your face kind of music. It's not the kind of thing where, and so we started it, Fog kind of came out of that vibe of how do we do something that just kind of sets a mood but isn't necessarily like right in your face. So.
Everything just kind of came together because you guys at this point you're describing you're living in the Northwest. Where that's carpeted. I mean, everywhere, just about every day.
Right.
But that's awesome for people to like stick around and see it kind of form, like mutate, form. It's like a soccer game, I guess, where like you're going this way, that way, this way, that way, and when it comes together, that's like when they finally actually score the goal, and you're like, yes, you're like, yeah, love it.
Well, it takes a certain sensibility to realize when you're watching musicians that they're giving you something new. They're giving you something that no one else is going to get ever again. It's in the moment. It's like some kind of bottle lightning, and some people want you to play it just like the CD, and that's, to me, kind of tragic. But we've played a lot of places where we'll look up and somebody's like, oh, they're improvising now.
Yeah.
This is really happening. And for people, particularly people who don't know music, they think you're just pulling this out of the ether. It's magic somehow, and you're casting some sort of spell, which is a wonderful thing. It's just not everybody has that sort of sensibility to realize that. Yeah, musicians are living things, and they go out on limbs sometimes, and they experiment and mess around. And if you're around while that's happening and it's successful, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you'd have to, touring and playing as often as touring musicians do. Mm-hmm. You love your music, but it can get stale if you play it the same way, really robotic, when you're allowed to just open up and experiment, and, your fans or the people in attendance are open to it. Like, that's, like you say, you're creating something together, and at that point, and it's, again, beautiful when it finally kind of comes together.
Right, for real.
So found sounds, how many different sounds did we use on the new album?
There are several ones. There's a cattle gate from Switzerland. It's like a squeaky gate that cattle can't go through, but you walk through it on the trail, and it just squeaked like hell. And so I recorded it and ran it through the sequencer, modulated it a little bit.
Precious moments we later can dream of. Come with me into the
So that's on there. Then from Barcelona, there's a broken intercom from an apartment complex. We just walked down the street, and it just made this weird sound. Yeah.
That amplified through the Barri Gothique, this whole huge medieval neighborhood. It was just echoing through the streets. And we're like, what the heck is that? Wow, there's some mad scientist lab over there. And we're like half crocked on sangria and whatever, and wandering around through the storied streets of Barcelona. And we're like, we gotta record that.
Yeah.
Like a couple of fiends, right? So.
Yeah, and then later that evening we got a vermouth in a bar, and I recorded the ice cubes in the glass. And so it just got weirder as the day went along.
I'm curious, for some reason, how did you get the ice cubes? Were you swirling it this way, or did you do something
just
inside?
in the glass, just in the glass,
just
swirling it, and it just made this king.
It was one of these really hipster, crazy bars that they have in Barcelona, and only in Barcelona. It's like from the ceiling to the floor, everything has style, and the food is outrageous and everything else. And there's just sort of this culinary renaissance going on in Barcelona anyhow, but they had these perfectly round, like you can hear billiard balls in the background, right? Perfectly round ice cube that they had constructed for their drinks, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it was just an artsy touch, but the thing rang out like a cowbell.
Oh, so it was one of those big so you just kind of pour, some vermouth over it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. So I'm thinking I'm like, I don't know why my mind, I hear these things and my mind draws up its own, like, you up here with your handheld recorder or your phone. How were you recording?
I was with the phone. Yeah.
With your phone,
some of them, and some of them with the microphone too. Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, I'm like putting, picturing you as I'm reading, the zine, like, it's like reading a story. It's beautiful how you guys were to like, the inspiration and about how we got there. Because now I'm like putting myself out in this open field with the cows. And
way the hell up on the top of an Alp in the fog, no less, in the wet. And it was just shy of winter. It was probably too early in the season to be up there. It was a little chilly and everything.
Yeah.
And the passes weren't even open yet. So picture all that, fog and cold and wet and way up on the top of an Alp, and then we're gathering sounds. And for us, we hear it and we kind of get taken back. So it's like this audio souvenir of sorts.
That's
right?
true.
My favorite one though is the Fickle Fjord one.
Yeah.
Is that the rain?
Yeah, rain and the waves from the fjord hitting the metal of the boathouse. And so it made this weird washy sound, raindrops, like it all mixed together, and it didn't quite make sense. Like the waves would be in one rhythm, and then it just started to sound like this gamelan.
Like a Balinese gamelan, like Indonesian music, and
like it didn't have any Western music elements in it. But I just found it intriguing to write to it.
Yeah, it was somehow musical, but it was not like traditionally. And we had actually at the MIM, when I was working there, I was a guinea pig for a course they wanted to do, which was a gamelan course, which is the traditional Balinese orchestra for their shadow puppet shows. And so these shadow puppet shows go on for like 9 hours at a time, and they do the whole Ramayana and everything else. Another story. But at any rate, they're like, let's see if Western people can do this. And they brought all these people in that were musicians, some of them classically trained, some of them really, really talented, and it fried our brains. And the Indonesian guy that was trying to teach us in the end was like pulling his hair out. He's like, 6-year-old kids can do this in my country. What is wrong with you people? And it's just like, our cup is full. We have all our Western ideas of what music, and we kept trying to make it Western.
Yeah.
And but so it was just really strange to have had that experience of all these little metal xylophones clanging out, and then immediately the flash to that when we're in this fjord in Norway. That's immediately what popped in my head, was this weird gamelan sound. Like you got to write a song to that, and so she did. She sat with a portable keyboard device and wrote a song and layered some beats, and she's like, here we go. She sat me down, and I immediately started writing lyrics to it. And so that was the one song that was recorded almost entirely in Norway. It was Fickle Fjord, with that basis of it. And if you listen closely with headphones, you can hear the fjord coming in and out of the mix. So it's still there. It's still pulsating beneath it.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I like it so much, because it's not just like, a gimmicky sound or something. It's actually an element in the song. It's actually informing the song somehow. So that's probably why it's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about the album is the found sounds to me, because it just relates it to the real world, because music kind of comes out of the ether per se, like you're creating it, you're making it, versus you came across this and you're like you say, you're like, it's not quite there, but it could be. Let's kind of work with it and make it, an enjoyable song.
And it's unique. Like, you found the sounds, and if you run it through a sequencer, you're kind of creating this urban drum kit with the sounds that you collect. other people take pictures. I run around with my phone and record sounds. So.
There was a story you were saying that you wanted to catch. Was
an
it an
ambulance? Yeah.
Where was this?
I was in Barcelona as well.
It was this ambulance that was completely out of tune.
Yeah.
And it sounded so awesome, and I was running down the street with my cell phone. It was
the
worse
sirens,
than that.
like the Minions and the beedo, beedo, beedo. That's a European siren, right? For people who don't know that, instead of woo woo, it's beedo, beedo.
But
this
it was like beedo, beedo.
It was really out of tune. It was terrible.
It was bad.
And we're imagining there's some poor dude. It's like, man, they gave me the broken ambulance again. They hate me. They always give me this one, He's
but
like,
I didn't catch it.
We couldn't get it. It was too far away.
I just picture you just booking it with your phone out.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
everybody's like, why is she trying to get on the ambulance?
And it was gone before we could get it. But it's like that. It's like photo or any kind of found art where it's about the moment and it's about the circumstances that made that found object, that weathered it or whatever that you want to use it. Because I was doing a lot of found art pieces. I did a whole exhibit at ASU years ago now that was artificial curiosities is what I called it. And it was making fun of sort of natural history museums, how they have these things that they claim and how they pin a beautiful thing like a butterfly to it. Isn't that cruel? Isn't that strange that they want to collect this thing and therefore kill it? And I was pointing all those things out as a former museum person. Like, isn't this strange that we do this, and how has it affected how we treat people? Putting things in a zoo, putting things in and how
SeaWorld.
Yeah, how has that shaped our ideas of class and things like this? But what I found is that these found objects, you couldn't tell them what they were.
Yeah.
You could combine them in a way and make them into something, but the storied nature of the found object itself was the piece in it. You couldn't tell it what it was, and I thought that was so intriguing. And instead of using a paintbrush or now a mouse or something like this to make art, you're just using something that has a life of its own. And I think found sounds is one of those things where it's like you can't tell it to be something, and you can shape it and use it. Because like the cattle guard thing, you would not know that it's a cattle guard by the time she got done with it.
Yeah.
It sounded like some kind of bizarre harp or something. But even like a dulcimer or something like this, like a gypsy dulcimer, Roma dulcimer, one of these sorts of things. And that's why it's so intriguing, is like, I took this thing, I know what it is, and I'm gonna play with it, see how we can distort it, and it becomes just some new element that no one else has had. I mean, we're certainly not the first people to come up with this. The Beatles and a lot of bands have done these things, but I think with the technology that's out there and the home recording that's available, it's kind of a new frontier for that. I think we may see a lot of groups doing that, and a lot more of it happening, because the possibilities to use an app. You could have this app where you record a guitar part right into it, and it puts a drum beat to it.
Yeah, but that's
instantly,
not the same.
instantly, so you can hear what it's going to sound like with a really bad rock drum beat or something. We really don't want to go that route. In fact, we did that with 129, which you've got there.
Yeah.
When I originally wrote it, that's the weirdest one as far as the story of how that song, I just woke up from a dream and had it in my head and thought it was a cover from another band and realized it was something I had just made up.
Yeah.
And so I sang it into my phone, and she's like, that sounds an awful lot like that jam we just did. And we had done a song very similar, and she played it, and then she used an app to put a drum beat to it, and I was like, that's just too spooky. That's too spooky. I wrote this song, I thought I wrote it in my sleep, but it was really something we kind of did before, and it kind of combined together, and I wrote the lyrics down as quickly as I could and sang it into the phone, and that was the way we recorded it initially. And but that opens up so many possibilities if you can hear exactly what it's going to sound like with the drum beat. And we said, that's a rock drum beat, let's not do that. So we ended up with this big fat disco beat, which totally turned the song into something else, but it still kind of had the original impetus, the original sort of inspiration, which is Chameleons UK, which was a band I really was obsessed with when I was a small kid. And the guitar sound and the spookiness of the lyrics and everything that that they did on their albums. Really like kind of perennial influence. Forgot about him for like 20 years, and then I was at the library, and there was this 20-year anniversary of that album, and I was like, I wonder if I'll still like this. And I did, and I played it for her, and she's like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that says to me they were way ahead of their time.
Yeah.
So
we were way behind. I don't know.
But it was a situation.
Well, time is a circle, right?
Well, yeah, and then that's the funny thing too, because the 80s stuff is so big now. Everybody's doing 80s things, from like Stranger Things and all this stuff. There are all these people that are into 80s stuff, 80s video games, 80s t-shirts, 80s everything,
Yeah.
And so in a weird way to do an 80s group like that, she likes it too. It's
people are gonna love the soundtrack to this because we're coming to you live from Timeout Lounge, which you guys are playing today. Is this one of the last shows on your leg?
It is. We've got one more show as Johnny and Reg, and one more show as the Upper Strata, and the last show of Upper Strata is in Bisbee, beautiful Bisbee, one of our favorite places on the planet.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow night we'll be doing a wine bar we used to like to do as Johnny and Reg, and that'll be all acoustic and stuff like that. So
very cool.
Like I said, we do both, and we enjoy both, and probably the next tour we do, should we do another tour, will probably be all acoustic, just because it's easier.
I just need to learn like cowboy yodeling, because I feel really inspired with the background music right now, so I might.
Where is the plug on that thing? Right? That's like when one of my roommates was like, first time she's like, I love Oreo cookies, and he looked at me and said, you need to get her out of this country. It's almost too late. The cultural influence has hit her. Get her out of here. Take her back to Switzerland.
It's not your fault. The food here is engineered to
hook you in.
Yeah,
sure.
It's engineered for that. So
for sure. And we're overloading on it from the minute we land. We're like, I want this and I want that. I want it. And then Swiss food is great, but if you go to a Swiss restaurant, you're going to go home and eat again because you're hungry. They're really, really stingy with the portions, and it's very expensive. And I mean, it may be that the guy's in a culinary guild or something that's cooking for you, and it's amazing, but you don't get U.S. portions anywhere else in the world, and so that's a weird shocker the first time we're like, let's get an appetizer, and we're like, oh my God,
tapas style.
That would feed an entire family in Switzerland,
of 8.
Family. So I was thinking about an appetizer over there.
Oh no, over there, forget it. They mean it if it's an appetizer. Yeah, it really is. Wow. Let me have this dime-sized piece of cheese. Thank you.
And it's the funkiest cheese, right? It's some funky stuff.
Oh yeah, but we love that stuff, and it's not that we don't enjoy Switzerland. We just have different habits there. I immediately lost a bunch of weight from Portland, because Portland food's insane. It's really good and really heavy.
All infused. There's a lot of infusion up there, right?
There is, and there's also like the Canadian influence, so there's a lot of heavy stuff, and then there's a lot of
because it was cold up there, you got to pack it on.
Yeah. But also things like
cheap microbrews.
And really good microbrews.
Sure, that'll do it.
And you're playing a lot of gigs. You're coming home late at night and you want a snack, and so you get these bad habits of eating at midnight, chicken wings and whatnot, or whatever they have in a bar, which is not usually terribly healthy. So we went down that whole path in Portland, and you look at the pictures of us from that time period, we put some weight on. It's really bad. It's really bad. And immediately got to get to Switzerland, and I'm jogging every day, and we're eating much better and everything else. So
just a different lifestyle.
Yeah, there's ups and downs with America. There's amazing things about America, and
for sure.
Some bad habits you wish America could fix, you get out of the rut of, We're very lucky we have so many trains and so much mass transit over there, but it's a much, much smaller country. It's the size of Maricopa County, for crying out loud, a whole country.
Jeez.
Yeah. With some
What's the population?
7 million?
7 million, yeah.
Okay, because Maricopa's probably like, what, 4 million maybe?
Maybe, yeah. It's pretty big.
Oh.
But I mean, you've got the Alps in there too that make it even smaller. You can't really live on those Alps too much. People try it, people do, but there's areas where it's really sparsely populated. So but
it's
so
gorgeous.
to do a rail system, it's not as big a deal, except those Alps, digging through pure granite and stuff.
Yeah.
But they do it somehow. But we're just amazed at like the potholes and stuff in Portland, and just like the lack of infrastructure. It's just so shabby. It's like things are just falling down around you in Portland. You come here and all the roads are outrageous. The size of the overpasses and all this stuff. And
Here,
8 lanes, and they're all perfectly paved. It's like, wow, they see where all the money's going. Education, let's just throw it all on the road. But teachers pay, no.
No.
We don't need to do that. Let's not get hasty here. Anyhow.
I love it. Well, that's what I love about just kind of an open-ended podcast. I don't know if this was kind of what you guys anticipated, if you wanted more like direct questions, but I like the setup of more of us getting together at a bar, which we are. We're missing a couple of drinks. We're missing some vermouth. And just catching up, man. It really. When I saw you guys, it was just like, wow, I feel like I just saw you. So it felt really nice to embrace you guys, especially because I know you guys are coming from, way across the pond again, and coming down Washington, Oregon, Cali, and now Arizona. When do you guys head out?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gone by really fast. It's amazing.
Fast.
We were sitting back like a year ago starting to plan all this, and it's amazing that it finally happened, and now it's almost over. It's kind of sad in a way, but we have some incredible memories of being in the redwood forest and on the Oregon coast, which is one of the most beautiful places in the
San
world.
Francisco.
San Francisco, just coming into the bay over one of the bridges into San Francisco with the fog rolling through and everything, and we make the joke that the fog is just following us everywhere we go until we got here. And then we had this big fog and we realized it was a sandstorm. It wasn't a fog at all. It's like, that's fog, Arizona style, right?
Oh yeah.
But
good old haboob.
It was bad. It was bad, yeah. And then we're like, what is that? There was a truck on fire on the interstate,
really
blocking all the traffic, and big black cloud of smoke going by. We're like, oh, that's not good. That's bad. It's bad. But yeah, no, we've had some incredible experiences and getting to see some. I have a niece in San Francisco. We hung out with her a little bit and her boyfriend, and get to see you guys and all these folks at the bar we know and everything. So
yeah, we'll do some good catching up here once we get the music rolling.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's opening up for you today? If you can
Jed from Bittersweet Way.
Bittersweet Way.
And Bittersweet Way's probably got 20 albums out. They've been around forever, and he's just a great guy. We've played a lot of shows with him, and it was just funny. We met him after one show one night, and he's just like, man, I really love what you're doing. It's really great. I really like it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. Thanks so much for listening. And he went and he bought like all our stuff and listened to all our stuff. And we started to be friends, and then when the show came up, I'm like, dude, I really appreciate the kind words. I appreciate your support. Why don't you do our farewell show with us? So the farewell show that we did at Casa as we were heading to Portland, he ended up playing with us. So we've got some connection to him.
Very cool.
And just a good guy that he's the same way we are. He doesn't really care if anybody likes what he's doing. He's just doing it because he kind of has to, and we just follow whatever influence pops in our head. Oh, we're going to do the whole blues thing, or we're going to do this or that, or we don't really care. We just do what we feel at the moment, which is even the name Upper Strata, which came from the idea of like it's the top layer. It's what we're interested at this moment, versus the lower strata, which would be older projects or older influences. So, we've sort of stuck with that. But yeah, I mean, he's a good guy. We tried to get a bunch of other bands involved, but everybody was busy.
Yeah.
So they're all off doing their other shows.
Well, that's a good thing,
Yeah,
staying
I guess
busy.
So. Thursday night. That's pretty cool if you're busy.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else you guys want to touch on the album?
Well, the companion, you can get it through Bandcamp if you want it. We'd be glad to mail it to you.
Yeah.
We can also arrange to have it downloaded if you prefer to do something like that. The whole idea is that now it's streaming and there's just nothing tactile about it, and you don't have that connection that you might have had with vinyl or even a CD booklet, where you sit down and you read about it and you see how it was written, or it was just this personal touch to albums and CDs back in the day when they would like maybe write a little letter at the back. Thanks for listening. This is why we did this album, and we want to special thank all these people. And that's gone with streaming, and it's a tragedy, really. It's really sad. I'll be playing music and just let it go and go for hours and not know who I'm listening to at all. You know? And it takes a lot for me to stop and go, who is that? That's awesome. I need to know who that is. But even then, it washes over me, and I don't know what they look like. I don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? But in the video music era, everybody talked about, I just saw that song. It was all about the video.
It was.
And so
and the big budgets.
Yeah, and then you have these shifts. So now it's streaming and giving away your music a lot of times at shows, or streaming it and letting people download it for free and things like that. But for indie artists, that's really devastating, because how do you support it, right?
You can't.
So what the companion idea is to allow people to have that tactile experience, and it's such a unique album in that we recorded it basically in about 4 countries, with the found sounds and the final stuff being done in Norway and everything. And we thought, well, this is the one to do a companion because it's unique. The next album will just be recorded in our apartment in Basel. No big deal, right? Maybe we'll do the vocals in Sicily or someplace. Who knows? But chances are it's not going to be as globetrotting as this one was. So we thought, okay, it's time to do it. Plus, it's a weird idea. Like you said, fog is creepy and beautiful at the same time, and it's a kind of an acquired taste. So how do you embrace something that maybe makes you nervous and find it beautiful? And I think that's a good message as well. I mean, Fog is Lifted is the final song, and it's this positive idea of whatever you're going through, it may just be a fog and may lift, and then you may see clearly again. Yeah. And in the case of a few of the songs, we're talking about addiction, we're talking about mental illness and things like this that can be permanent fogs, or they can be fogs that you can get help from, And so there's a lot of different types of fogs, a lot of different types of ideas that we tried to address in it. But the idea of finding something that maybe you're afraid of beautiful eventually it takes a certain open-minded person to be able to do that, and I would encourage people to be that way. There's a lot of a lot of division right now. There's a lot of hate speech going around, and a lot of bad information, and you shouldn't let it divide you. Shouldn't let it prejudice you. Try to take things case by case, and try to maybe see things from more than one perspective.
Yeah,
it's a better worldview, I think.
That's the big thing. That's one thing people don't do enough of is try to understand why somebody is viewing it in a certain way, instead of just, well, out the gate, I don't agree with you, so I'm gonna unfriend you,
or whatever.
That's the big thing, unfriending. Guys, you can just unfollow. You don't have to go as far as unfriending.
I can just block you.
That would be one big thing. Like when you have a disagreement with someone, I would say take a step back, and you should take the position of trying to make the point or the case, or argue the other person's point of view. Right. So put yourself in their shoes, and then that can give you a greater understanding of where they're coming from. And then you can kind of work on it, because if you just don't try to understand where that person is, you're just shutting them off right out the gate, because you're not even trying to understand me. You're not trying to get me. Right. If you open yourself up, then that would allow the walls to kind of be broken down a little bit, and try to reach across the aisle. That feels horrible.
Because I think we are all conflicted. We maybe people are very much in favor of environmental change, but they're socially not very open, or vice versa. It's gay marriage, who cares? But the environment, that's just a big hoax or whatever. See, I think everybody is kind of conflicted. and it's sort of, I think you have to have an open mind personally and try to, like you said, try to see how people are viewing things and try to put yourself in someone else's position. Plus, we don't tend to look at, well, yeah, homeless problem in Portland, which weighs heavily on the album. Well, how did they get that way? You know, how do we fix the things? Oh, we make a lot of wars. There are a lot of veterans. Oh, the VA system sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, so you go down the path and it's like, no, they're drug addicts. No, they're dealing with post-traumatic, you know, and
post-traumatic. Yeah, you didn't say disorder because
no,
it's not a disorder.
It's taken away. They took that away now.
It's normal. That's what a normal person would experience. So it's not a disorder.
We all have on some level. We've all experienced it, just to different degrees. If somebody's trying to kill you for a year straight, you know, that's a different type of intensity. But people in prison go through that same experience of the terror of being in prison, of losing your freedom or whatever. They say that's just as bad. People still wake up years later from prison, still in shock.
Isolation.
From it, you know?
We're social beings, and what's the greatest punishment that they can do to you is put you in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be, you know, pain, hurt. I'm losing the perfect word I want to say for it, but there's going to be trauma from that.
Yeah.
Like, we're social beings, so to be locked up like that, just as like a timeout, Timeout Lounge, what's up? Yeah, that's one of the cruelest things you can do, I guess.
Oh, for sure. And in the world we're making, where everybody stares at their hand and looks at their own little portable device, is another kind of isolation.
It really is.
And then people kind of create their own persona online, and what happens when that persona meets the real world, you know?
Yep.
Those are all kinds of things that that we've got to grapple with, or it's just going to go on being mass shootings and things like this, where it's like you look at the folks who are doing those and they're all online intensely, you know?
Yeah.
And so how do we find a balance in these things, and how do we help veterans so that they're not homeless? You know, you say you support your troops, but then what happens when they get home? You go on the VA website, and it's a lot of stuff about how to bury people, and not a lot of stuff how to deal with people that are still around and need help.
Yeah.
You know, so we failed as a country. And so then you end up with a homeless problem. But that's a very simplified way of looking at it, but that is a huge percentage of the problem. All the way back to Korea, you know, and so to Vietnam War, we still got plenty of folks reeling out on the streets from that, you know. So how do we fix those things? Well, maybe make less wars. That might be good. To start, but those are big things that the average person doesn't see how they can affect that or fix that at all. So.
Yeah, these are big problems.
Yeah.
That don't take, like you say you're trying to describe it, and even in you describing, you're like, it's not as simple as how I'm presenting it now.
Right.
You know, but it's we're opening up the conversation to that.
Sure, and you should with yourself when you can. Like, why do I feel like I do about certain things, and question why you think you know something or believe something. And that's a continual process. And for those of you out there, Juan and I used to work together, and this is pretty much what our break room conversation was like every day.
Oh, jeez. You took like 5-hour breaks every day?
We got into some heavy stuff, and I immediately connected with Juan. I was like, oh, that guy's got a brain on him. That guy's got some
crazy
thoughts.
talks there with everybody.
Yeah. That was one of the greatest bunch of guys I'd ever worked with, so honestly. I mean, every one of those guys was amazing. LaCour still cracks me up when he posts things, and Graham was amazing, and Eric, of course, and there's just a great bunch of guys. Sanchez, come on, that guy.
Yeah, Andrews.
You need to drag him out to some of your stand-up things, because he could kill it there, I'm sure. But he keeps threatening to move to Switzerland too. I don't know if he's going to do it. Yeah,
he needs to do it.
He's apparently his family's from the Italian-speaking region of Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
So he's a Swiss citizen, apparently.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he wants to do it, but I hope he does. It'd be funny to have him as a neighbor.
Yeah, not only
See
that,
if you could
but
get 86th out of the entire canton of Ticino. The entire Italian region. I can't go back there. Oh, really?
what happened? Well, it all started with this big ice cube in Vermouth.
Yeah.
I can see that going for sure. What time are you guys going up? What time is it right now?
I don't know.
What's going on?
Let's see.
To sit up.
I don't want to hold you guys back.
Good.
What time zone is that?
Switzerland. It's 5:20 in the
5:20
morning.
in the morning, yeah.
Look at that. I was like, 5:20? What? I
Well, I
got
don't-
here at 6.
I don't know how long we've been talking then. Maybe close to an hour then, huh? Could be. That happens. That happens with us.
See, I wear this watch that the battery's dead.
Oh, all right.
So all I do is like, what time is it? It's about 8 now. Nobody's going to look at my watch right now, but they'll probably look around 9:15. There we go. That's how this mind works. It's just a fashion statement
But
at
it's
this point.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's wood.
It's nice.
I think it's wood. It might be IKEA.
Somebody
IKEA
asks
wood.
you what time,
Yeah,
what time
no,
would you
no.
like it to be? I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so how can the folks find you online?
All over the place.
Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, everywhere.
Bandcamp for the companion for sure.
Yeah, so they can get this mailed to them.
Yep. We'll mail it to you. We'll mail you an LP. We'll mail you anything you want. You know, it's gonna cost you, but you know.
Yeah, but well, you get something tangible, which
Yeah.
you're not getting a lot of times at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or at shows, you know, if we're touring around and we've got them.
So it's strictly online. Your presence is strictly the Upper Strata. There's no Johnny and Reg.
There is a Bandcamp for Johnny and Reg.
Okay.
And that is just the acoustic album we recorded in the log cabin. It's 15 songs. That's all we got out there for Johnny and Reg.
Okay.
That may change over time. We may put out another Johnny and Reg recording, especially if we do another U.S. tour as just Johnny and Reg.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot less stuff. We got like 6 guitars that we're schlepping around, and it's kind of bad. It's too much. And then you fly over and you're worried you're gonna lose stuff, you know, or stuff's gonna get broken or stolen or whatever. And so the less you have to track down and keep track of, then, you know, the simpler the tour, the easier it is. And then you get to enjoy the tour more, you know, because that's really what we're about. You know, we're not trying to get famous or anything from it. It's just have a good time with it.
Good.
So,
Well, I
but-
hope you do get famous, but you know, just keep it fun and doing it for the right reasons, not to get famous.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've never seen anything that led me to believe being famous really helps you as an artist.
No.
It puts more pressure on you as an artist, and then
That's true.
you can't just go to the Safeway and buy your groceries and get hounded by people and stuff. I mean, I've seen it on a small level where people wanted autographs and things like that, and it's not comfortable. It's not nice. And I don't really.
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Amy Winehouse, where the fame really, really killed her.
Yeah.
You know, really crushed her. So I'm okay. I would rather put out what I want to put out, and lots of. You know, if we can make a little money from it, that's fine. You know, people, because we get some royalty checks and things like that, but
Nice. As you
licensing
should.
stuff. But people want to download things, that's awesome. And you know, if that could be a living, that's fine. But I just don't see that being famous is really.
No. I mean, being famous as far as like being rewarded for your hard work, your creativity, and you know, you're able to make a living from doing what you love. That part of being famous, but the being hounded, that's a tough way to live.
Yeah. To live behind a compound or something.
Yeah.
No good.
It's
awesome.
not gonna happen to us.
Yeah, it's gonna happen to us.
Well,
But
let's get you guys on that stage. Let's
right.
get some
All right.
vermouth. Let's.
Yeah.
let's get you. Look, you want to talk to Jed for a little bit?
Yeah.
Let me
throw
get him
on.
over here.
Yeah, get him over.
I'm gonna,
Doug is also a musician. He's played for a bunch of bands. He used to play for Ruka.
Ruka. Feel like I've heard of them. Yeah. Oh, guys, that was Johnny and Regula of Upper Strata. Let's see if their friend Jed, maybe Jedidiah, maybe Jedi, maybe Jederson. Hi. How are you?
He's already got the
He's got it, huh?
Yes.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you want to throw on these headphones. And then just
Excellent.
speak into the mic.
Perfect.
I should probably turn this one off. I'm not going to use it. Hold on. There we go. That's a little bit better.
Excellent.
Pull that up to you if you need.
It sounds good here. So
good. As long as you're comfortable.
Yeah.
With the distance there. So, sir, introduce me to yourself.
My name is Jedidiah Foster. It's just Jed for short.
Jed.
Yeah.
Oh, you from Arizona?
From right here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Born and raised?
Literally born and raised.
Nice. Yeah, I'm an Arizona native as well.
Lived a couple places, other places as well, but was born here and spent like 90% of my life here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you know Johnny?
From when? Before they left here. Yeah. Playing shows with them, and I had seen them a couple of times randomly, and then I played a show with them, and then we just have been friends ever since. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, guitar player?
Primarily a guitar player. Yeah.
What else do you?
I play a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have records where I've played every instrument on the record.
Nice.
So, yeah. I don't like to do that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past.
I can imagine that's it's a lot of work to say the least. And then you become just hypercritical, right?
Hypercritical, and I'm a lousy drummer. So that's why.
Yeah. People think it's easy to hit things,
No,
right?
and it's not. It's not at all.
So, what kind of style are you doing tonight?
Tonight is just going to be me and an acoustic guitar. So it's going to be really quiet and sad.
I love sad music.
That's what I do.
I love like sad country, like not sad country that you would hear on the radio these days, but like, are you familiar with like Lost Dog Street Band?
I absolutely am. Actually.
Oh my god, I love them. And I think that's because like I tend to be such an upbeat person that I try to look at the silver lining on everything, so that might be something that I need to like maybe work on as far as like, hey, you need to really analyze your shit. But I like the sad music just because I feel like I don't experience that enough in my own life.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, like, if somebody could like, portray that as well as, a lot of the country artists do.
Yeah, definitely.
And bluegrass.
Yeah.
So do you play fiddle?
No, well, not in years, but I have. That's actually the very first instrument I ever played was violin. Yeah, and I played it for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, I have played violin on some of my records. So yeah.
Yeah. He was saying that what band were you part of, or are you part of?
Sorry, I'm drinking whiskey right now. The Bittersweet Way is my main band that I have. Yeah.
And you say you guys have some absurd amount of albums out.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, so I've been playing under that name for just over 20 years. Since the late 90s. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of varying qualities. So yeah.
There was times where you had a little too much whiskey.
Too much whiskey. I did a ukulele record. It was weird.
Hey.
Yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff.
Did you do the high G tuning or the low G tuning?
The high G tuning.
The high G, okay. So, how would you describe your singing style?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. So, So you've never heard me sing, so I will just throw this out here. Pretty much every record review we've ever gotten has mentioned Morrissey.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a crooner, like that's just how I sing, and so that kind of comes across as like a Morrissey-esque vocal line. Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of Morrissey. Yeah.
I like it. Are you headed out with them to Bisbee by chance?
I'm not. No,
Yeah.
I'm bummed. So, actually, I mean, some of my friendship history with them is Bisbee because, the first time I ever really hung out with them was in Bisbee at the Side Pony Express Music Festival that happens down there every year. So they're going down there like this weekend, right? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're heading. They say they're leaving Sunday.
Yeah.
Crazy. Hit and run.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm not going down there then. But I'm going to be down. My band's playing down there for
Bittersweet Way.
For Bittersweet Way for Side Pony, which is in a couple weeks. So
damn, nice,
yeah.
Nice. I really would like to get down there.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th through the 11th of November. So.
8th, 11th of November, and that's a good time of the year too, because it's nice,
beautiful.
right?
It's really nice. It's chilly at night, but it's perfect.
Then you just hang around the fire,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Get those flames going.
Get those flames going. Drink more whiskey.
Warms you up from the inside.
That's right.
How many members in the?
We're a 3-piece right now.
Okay.
So I mean, down through the years, it's varied, depending on what we were doing at the time, and there's been like 30 some people in the band, so down through the years. So
well, I would say after 20 years, you're gonna have members as they're going through their life cycle,
going through life and moving and everything else, and
career changes, relationships,
yeah.
Couple of too much whiskey,
couple too much whiskeys, yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Awesome. How long is your set tonight?
I think it's around a half an hour. I think is what I planned out. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do a lot of improvisation, or you kind of have it set?
No, it's pretty set. It depends on the show. So with the live band, it's always, with the full band, it's always very set. We know exactly what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But acoustic, sometimes, a lot of times, I'll just write up a list of songs that I'm thinking about playing, and just in no particular order, and just kind of just see how the night goes.
Yeah.
Tonight I planned it out. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how many whiskeys did you plan in?
A couple.
That's a good start.
It's a weeknight still. So.
Yeah. So you guys, your band is playing. Do you guys have another album in the works? Are you doing anything solo album wise?
So no, nothing solo. We have we're getting ready to start work on a new record this winter, so to come out next spring. So
okay,
yeah, we're working on that.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean we've had most of the songs written. We're working on a couple more songs to finalize, and then we're going to go into the studio. So,
yeah. Do you have a studio lined up?
We do. Our process is weird.
Yeah.
So, because I've been doing this a long time. I've done a lot of production and stuff in the past as well. So, pretty much we go to a studio for drums.
Gotcha.
And then I do everything else, at home or in our practice space or wherever else we can set up. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind do you put any piano in your tracks? Keyboard?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of a bone of contention between myself and my bass player. Well, to his credit, he's more about the live, what we do live and capturing that spirit. And so when we do recordings and there's stuff on there that we don't do as a part of our live show, it's not that he dislikes it. He just would prefer it if it was more raw. So
yeah, I can see that. For
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I've always been the guy that's I want the records to be the records and the live show to be the live show. And I don't want them to be wildly different. I want them to both be recognizable as the same thing. But if you've got a record and you can have strings or keys or whatever else on it that you can't have live, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because that record's going to live forever, and that live show is going to be 45 minutes. So
that's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Unless you got a Samsung Galaxy set up
Exactly.
to capture it. So what's your choice of keys then? As far as you got a Rhodes, you have
it kind of depends. I mean, a lot of, if it's more like piano and organ type sounds, I usually just use MIDI and sample based stuff. Just because it's
the convenience factor.
Easy. Yeah. I am kind of a synth nerd. I've got a lot of weird synths. I've got a couple of Moogs and Rolands and that stuff. Sequential circuits, Pro One, all kinds of crap from
as one would expect after playing for 20 years.
20 years. Yeah. Yeah, well, I have more synth gear than guitar gear, I think. It's pretty neck and neck.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So I do a lot of stuff with that. And then a lot of times even that stuff on the records ends up being software synths because it's easy. So
Yeah. You got to, when you're spitting it out, like you said, from, again, most of them are written, but, it still is a process to get everything recorded.
To get everything recorded and
mixed and
else.
mastered.
Yeah. And a lot of those pieces I don't really think about until we're recording, right? So a lot of the arrangement of some of that stuff doesn't really happen until we're actually recording stuff. So
Yeah. So what do you do outside of music?
I'm a professional nerd. I do.
What does that mean?
I do fancy IT work for a living. Is the way I usually describe it. So, yeah, lots of buzzwords like cloud engineering, and yeah, that's the stuff that I do.
But the main thing out of your mouth is, have you turned it off and turn it
back on again? It holds true even in the stuff that I do. Yeah, for sure.
Do you do, not to incriminate don't incriminate yourself, do you do any hacking?
Oh, no. I mean, in many years past, I dabbled in a lot of that kind of stuff. But, yeah. But no, not now.
Other than actual nerd stuff, do you do any popular nerd stuff that people call themselves nerds for these days?
You mean like
anime and cards, like
Magic the Gathering or that kind of stuff? Very little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, there's a lot of anime stuff that I like, but I liked that since I was much younger. So it's just kind of, and I just don't have time for much of that stuff anymore. So, I like video games because I think it's 2019. Who doesn't like video games? But
for sure. Well, it's like the best show or movie you could watch, and you're
being
actually partaking in it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and there's problem solving, and then there's goal setting. Essentially, it's awesome.
But that is video games is like, it's one of those kind of hot button issues because it's like, how do you play PC games or console games or whatever else? And definitely a console gamer because I'm on a computer for like 10 hours a day every day. So when I want to relax, the last thing I want to do is still be sitting at my desk.
That makes sense. See, before that I would say, well, this guy's definitely a PC guy if you're in IT.
And I'm not. And it's because I do IT stuff that I'm not interested very much in PC gaming.
Yeah. So I would imagine in your line of work, your choice of words is much different than your online persona.
Not as much as you might think.
No, you're not a shit talker?
I'm not really a shit talker like in my online persona, but I actually am kind of in my job.
Oh!
I was just talking to a friend of mine a little bit ago about this. Like I'm not like a total jackass, but like I'm pretty blunt at work. I'm the guy that they get to have difficult conversations.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Especially when you deliver it.
Oh, yeah. It's like, hey, they're here. Sorry.
It's not me,
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. No, this is from. This is like our boss's boss.
You're like,
telling us.
Let me level with you. You take off the glasses.
Yeah.
You take out the hat. You're folding it up. So I'm just the messenger. Listen. Listen. That guy over there.
Oh yeah.
So it's good to hear that you keep it together when the 12-year-olds are really going in on you.
Oh yeah.
Or do you even play games that 12-year-olds partake in?
There's some that I do. Yeah, for sure. Not that much because that also makes me insane.
What do you mean?
Like just dealing with 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely play some of those games. I mean, mostly I just mute those people, so and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. That's a good. That's the high road.
Yeah. It's just easier, man, because otherwise, I don't need to be called racist, homophobic words. like what? What's wrong with you? You don't even know my mother.
Yeah. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I don't know what time you guys are going up. I feel like
I'm not even sure.
I don't want to hold you guys up or anything, but I'm enjoying this. Let's you know what? I need me a whiskey too.
Okay.
Who can I wave down? What's your choice there? What is that?
This is a Jameson on the rocks.
I knew it was Jameson. Why'd I even ask?
Because I'm that guy.
Yeah, the more I've never been an alcohol guy, a beer guy.
Oh yeah.
I can't, man. First off, yes, I've never got past the taste, but immediately that second drink hits my stomach, like I'm just like, I'm done. I can't even finish this beer. Like I'm just like,
you get full?
Yeah, I get like full. I just not feeling good, but I will throw down like 10 of those and no problem.
Yeah.
Like anytime I go to the bar, it's always double shot on ice, or a little thing that just cut it a little bit. Yeah, just enough, where I kind of have some sympathy for my taste buds.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you into cigars, the whiskey and cigars?
I used to be. I don't smoke at all anymore. I was a cigarette smoker for like pretty much 20 years. So I quit last year. And
nice. Hell yeah.
So, but I also loved cigars, was a part of that, and pipe smoking too. That was a big thing for me too.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I'm not doing no cigars or pipes either anymore, just because I'm like, nicotine messed me up, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've had to fill it with something else. So what do you got?
More whiskey.
No. The smoked and aged.
No, I don't know. It was weird. That was.
What set it off though?
The quitting?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just time. Like I had kind of wanted to quit for a couple years.
Yeah.
And I smoked a lot. Like I would go out and if it was like a Friday or Saturday night, I might smoke 2 packs of cigarettes.
Damn.
It was bad.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was real bad. I would just chain smoke all the time. So, so I was tired of that. I was tired of waking up and not being able to breathe and everything else. And
well, how's it changed? How's your singing changed?
Oh man, it took a while. So I had to kind of relearn how to sing. So I had all this kind of muscle memory, for lack of a better term. Like, hey, if I do this, if move my diaphragm this way and my throat this way, this is how it's going to sound. And I just kind of, so the full band, the Bittersweet Way, we're very, very loud, like sometimes painfully. And so I've just kind of had to get used to being able to sing over the top of that in places that sometimes I may not be able to hear myself as much as I'd like to, just because of, the nature of the PA we're playing on or whatever. So I had all this muscle memory built up for years and years and years of being a smoker and singing and everything else. And then when I quit, I'm like, oh shit, my voice is not doing what I think it's supposed to anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I had to kind of refigure out how to make that all work.
Yeah. The long road?
It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely specific and deliberate. It was a deliberate road. I had to actively.
Did you play any gigs while you guys were like that? So you have anything to say to those people in attendance?
I'm sorry. Sorry for a lot of reasons, but that is definitely one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that it makes sense. Because that had to have an effect on your vocal cords and whatnot. And then once you take it away, and your body's like, what are we trying to do here?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I sing better now than I did before, but
good.
Whatever.
Well, and you feel better, ultimately?
Oh, yeah. It was the right move, for sure.
Good.
For sure. Smoking looks really damn cool, though. That's the problem with it, right?
Yeah, it's the I don't care. This is doing, I'm gonna do me,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I've never been able to get into it myself.
That is good.
Well, I grew up around it. My dad smoked like crazy. I love the smell.
Yep, I still love the smell of cigarettes.
But every now and then I'll be like, I say every now and then. The last time I tried a cigarette was probably 2007 or 8.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I was like, everybody's going out. I was like, let me try it again. I took one hit. I was like, nah, who wants it?
Nice.
It's not for me. Not for me. So I have been thankful in that sense.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, are we good on time? What are we doing?
Should probably get rolling. We gotta still sound check and everything. So.
Yeah, let's get your sound check, man.
Right.
It was awesome talking to you and meeting you, man. I look forward
Definitely.
to seeing what you got.
Yeah, hope I don't screw it up.
Awesome. Tell people, since I'm gonna throw this up online, how they can find you, follow you,
Sure.
and where they can.
So
keep up.
The Bittersweet Way is the band. We've got the website, thebittersweetway.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram as the Bittersweet Way. So very easy to find. Yeah, we're not like super social media savvy, like, but like we definitely, when we have shows and all that kind of stuff, we definitely make sure we're using those outlets to let people know. So, yeah,
cool. All right, guys, we'll find them. Thanks for tuning in, those of you who have. And I want to give thanks to Johnny and Reg all the way from Switzerland, and Jedidiah all the way from Mesa, Tempe, Chandler.
It's downtown Phoenix.
Downtown Phoenix. It's a brutal drive. I know they flew here, but you don't know traffic in Phoenix, all right?
I think it was a 12-minute drive.
Construction on every corner. Guys, thanks for tuning in. This has been This One Time. You know my name. My name is Juan Montoya. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. I never know how to end these, but it's over.
Sweet, man. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was watching Cash Cast when I did. Oh, my gosh.